So a few thanks to begin the reading. The first, Nikos, if I could have the first slide, dear sir. I would like to draw your attention to the upper left corner. Thank you so much, Mark Kanak, for translating me into English. Very generous from my native Styrian. And the second thanks, of course, to our guide, which I won't do the German translation of, the Styrian himself, Max Höfler. The worm in its core. Hello, love. There are different images of women and men and their voices we can draw. Whether the voice of death, its fear, the angel sat upon our shoulders a whole lifetime, only heard when, at the end, it extends its wing. Or a belief in immortality, or a daily release of madness, tics, squabbles, feuds, self-orientated and recently self-diagnosed diseases. The voices are coming. The world population doubling, folding in on itself, doubling again, necessary heroes procreating, ignoring and distancing themselves from death and dying. Doubling again, filling up the earth with voices, at first crying, getting their way, magicians who make things happen to their will with only a voice, then a voice without language, then denial, then the magic stops, and hate to the heroes, then heroic, the child makes more, voices, space being endless, doubling, voices stacking, being endless, feuding, crying, procreating, stacking, crying. Without hearing of the outer world doubling, what is hearing of the inner voice? An internal deafness as trend, as help to access 1,000 opinions online, crying, needing to share, apparently, waiting, magic again, imagining there are some listening, pretending all are not just sharing opinions, altering nothing. Is magic, crying, feuding, hearing, crying, no listening, no hearing? An inner voice suggesting, perhaps, strangling, no crying, don't admit that, that second voice didn't say that, no hurting, inspiring, God is the second voice in me, to the inner voice lisping. A memory from a small voice before the first voice was, voice without essence, third voice in nature. Both sounds and meanings, symbols as the meaning, the voice only thought the latter, only heard the former, voice of the individual, finite voice, then doubled, trebled, voice in multiples, finite vessel, infinite voice, bemused at being alive, expansive voice, symbol of a voice as mouth, moving, black hole, entire voice as symbol out of nature, lips moving within nature, voice as a double, both things, the lips material, split in the cold, the voice housed in the body, gasping that once belonged to a fish. Ashamed voice of what it is said, of how it cannot shut up until its material is finished, at core, voice, at essence, the second voice saying killing, saying hours, no inner voice, no crying, no not needed the other voice, just one voice, the voice in one's mouth, the mouth voice, crying, the opinion voice, and not listening, not hearing, not needed, second voice, third voice saying hurting, no loving, no strangling, not worried, immortal third voice, God said loving, not killing, no needing, crying for living forever in first voice, life living, not worrying, hearing, crying, saying, I think first voice, not third voice, happy crying, one voice, alone voice, needling the word in his core of speaking, not knowing, worm voice speaking, not knowing time or death happening, don't listen to it, hearing its fourth voice, quiet, almost silent, almost muted, no muted, closing, crying, needling, full voice, fourth voice, third voice, second voice, dead. First voice reads and feels no need to share voice. First voice acknowledges one day soon, no voice. First voice silent, almost silent. First voice hears, first voice hearing, reading, failing. Will it, in the end, have a say? Ghosts. British aristocracy portrayed as lovable because they can be. American appetites for deeper histories, plastic industries, and being pale. Waiting in the rain for him to leave, old clothes well-tailored, staying put all alone. Do the drapes match? Beware of crimson peak. Quite sharp, quite interesting development, don't you think, your accent? Not a complicated dance, really. Yes, charming, dashing. So much so to obscure so much. Behind it, people say grinding, eyes closed to the grind, wouldn't you say?